Well, hello there, folks, and a very warm welcome as usual back to What's for Tea and our wee recipe for this week. And I do hope that I find you very well indeed. And tonight I've made this amazing cherry Bakewell steamed pudding. That's a bit of a mouthful, but it's absolutely delicious. It's just a classic combination of flavours, your cherry and almond, and it's a lovely, fluffy, light pudding because it's been steamed for a couple of hours. So this is everything that I'm using here, but as usual, I will put it on the screen as I use it and leave it down in the description box just in case you want to write anything down. So I've got unsalted butter, plain flour, white sugar, a couple of eggs, I've got baking powder and corn flour, obviously some cherry jam, some Glace cherries, some marzipan, almond extract and a wee touch of water as well. These are the Glace cherries I used here. I used the Morello cherries just because I think they've got a nice punchy, strong cherry flavour, but use whatever you can find. And this was the cherry jam that I used here. So this is my bowl. Use a pudding basin or something like this as long as it's heat proof. And you want to grease this well with butter just to make sure your pudding doesn't stick. And just to make doubly sure that mine's isn't going to stick, I'm going to put a wee disc of paper in the bottom of my bowl. Like I said, this just aids in getting it out at the end. So grab yourself a large mixing bowl and we're going to start getting everything together. So in with your soft unsalted butter, and I'm going to use my hand whisk just to loosen this up ever so slightly before I add the sugar, just to make it a wee bit easier to combine. Make sure your butter is room temperature or soft. And then I'm going to add in my white sugar. I am using custard sugar, but use whatever white sugar you have. It really doesn't matter. Keep mixing this until it's nice and pale and fluffy and it looks something like this. This will take you about 5 minutes and it will go much lighter in colour. To this, I'm going to add a couple of medium eggs. This is large eggs if you're in the US or Canada, and just mix these in as well. And don't worry if your mixture looks curdled or you think it looks curdled, because it will be absolutely fine in the end. So just give that a couple of minutes just to mix through, and I'm going to go in with my spoon just to get everything off the sides of the bowl and back down to the bottom. To this, I'm going to add my marzipan. I've just grated this with a cheese grater to make sure it's a nice wee uniform pieces. So go in with your marzipan and just give this a wee stir through your batter. And then I'm also going to add my Glace cherries, and I've just chopped each cherry into about 4 pieces. And again, just mix these gently through with your spatula. And the last thing I'm going to add is the almond extract or the almond essence. About a teaspoon of this. You don't need much because it's quite strong. And obviously you've got the marzipan as well, which has got a strong almond flavour. Add your baking powder and your flour to a sieve. And you want to run these through your sieve just to make sure there are no lumps. This is going to make your cake a wee bit lighter as well. Go in with your spatula and just fold your dry ingredients into the wet ingredients, and you will have something that looks like this. It's similar to sort of pudding consistency. When you pick it up, it should drop off your spoon quite easily. So it should be nice and thick and puddingy, just like this. Get back to your bowl and you just want to drop your cake batter right into your bowl and then sort of level it out in the top with a spoon. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat because this will find its own level as it's steaming. So if it's looking something like this, it'll be ideal. So I'm going to grab some greaseproof paper and some tin foil as well, roughly the same size. Put a wee pleat in the top just to let the steam, just to allow your pudding to expand as it's steaming. So put your greaseproof paper on first, followed by the tin foil. Crimp it round the edge just to make sure it's nice and secure. And I'm also going to add some string as well, just to hold that paper on so it doesn't come flying off as it's steaming. So tie that nice and tight with some string. Make sure the string isn't plastic string because you don't want your string to melt during the steaming process. So nice and tight, just like this. And make sure you do have your wee pleat in the top just to allow everything to puff up and steam nicely. Snip off your excess with some scissors, and now we are ready to steam. So go over to your cooker. You want a nice large saucepan, an upturned saucer or something similar, just to make sure your basin isn't touching the bottom of the pan. Fill up your pan with some nice boiling water about halfway up your pudding basin, and you want to make sure your pan is big enough to hold all of this and your pudding basin can still move around in there. Pop your lid on and let this simmer away for 2 hours on a very low heat, as low as your cooker will go. So yeah, this is ideal. This was me 2 hours later. Just be very careful because it will be very warm. Test with a knife or a skewer to make sure your pudding is dry and cooked all the way through. And then you just want to snip off your string and then get your tin foil and your greaseproof paper off, and it's puffed up lovely and it's beautifully steamed and cooked all the way through. Flip your bowl upside down and you'll have something that looks like this. Make sure to remove the wee disc of paper that you put in just at the beginning, and this will come off really easily. And doesn't it look fab? Just perfect, and it smells amazing as well. So just set this to the side, and the last thing we're going to do is your cherry jam sauce just for the top, just to make it extra delicious. So get over to your pan, pop your cherry jam in there, followed by your water, and use a wee bit of this water to combine with your corn flour just to make it into a sort of syrup. And we're going to add this in as well, and this is going to thicken up your sauce. You can use arrowroot if you want more of a clear sauce. I am using corn flour because I didn't have any arrowroot. So just let this combine and bubble away for a couple of minutes, and it will look something like this. And this is ready to serve straight away. So just pop most of this on top of your pudding, but keep some back because I'm going to add some ice cream once this is served, and it's nice to have a wee drizzle of the sauce over the ice cream as well. Or if it's cold where you are, you might want to serve this with some nice warm custard. It's entirely up to you, but I think it's lovely served warm with the cold ice cream. So get a nice wedge out here, and you can see how lovely and fluffy this is inside. It really is so tasty, and like I said, very easy to make. It does take a couple of hours, but worth it in my opinion. You'll get 5 or 6 good portions out of this as well, obviously depending on how big your portions are. And this was it here, just ready to devour. So like I said, we did have ice cream because I think it goes so well with the warm pudding, but you could of course have custard with this or just have it on its own. It's entirely up to you. So thank you so much for watching, and do let me know if you're planning on giving that one a go. And a huge thank you as usual to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page, and to the channel members here on YouTube as well, and for you all for watching and leaving your lovely comments, and for those that share the videos as well. It's all very much appreciated. And for those that have bought me a coffee, using the Buy Me a Coffee link as well, because I always forget about you. So thank you ever so much, and I'll catch up with you off as soon back here on What's for Tea. Take care. Bye now.